Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Tiny Table Talk for The Challenge Season 35 Total Madness Episode 7. Now, we might have to get to a lot of apologizing by the end of this episode, so let's just get this thing rolling. This week's episode of The Challenge, and really last week's episode of The Challenge, really revolved around Jenna and her relationship with Zach, where her head is at in this game, and it got herself into the tribunal. Now people are wanting to be thrown into the elimination to possibly get an easy red skull. And to me, to think that Jenna, if she did throw herself into an elimination, is a quote-unquote easy red skull is asinine in my opinion. Why would you think that? Jenna has been to 3 finals in her first 3 seasons, and she was partnered up with some of the worst people to ever be on the challenge to date, and she made it to 3rd twice and 2nd place in really hard finals. And then her elimination record is impeccable. She has the moniker Barbie Beast for a reason, and to just think, oh, because she's fighting with her boyfriend over Zoom and that she possibly may be homeless by the time she's getting out of this challenge house, that she would just be an easy layup is absolutely dumb in my opinion. And to think that possibly that all this anger and pent up stress that she is festering inside of her because of this fight with Zach over and over again, that wouldn't be motivation and passion to want to absolutely do her best to destroy whatever is in her path, to fight as much as she can, not only for $1 million, just to know that she deserves to be in this house, is just dumb in my opinion. For Nelson to get into fights with people, to think that, oh, Jenna is an easy red skull, for her friends. I mean, Jenna's friends are sitting there saying Jenna's not going in. Trust me, you don't want to go in. You don't want to go in if it's a puzzle, if it's a hall brawl, you're not going in. It's Jenna's choice. And you know what? She chose for herself, and she went and she took care of business, which I will talk more about that later, about the elimination later. But to me, I just felt like I was just like ripping my hair out every time I saw somebody in a confessional, every time I saw somebody talk about Jenna being an easy win, to be an easy layup. I mean, to me, it was just like, come on, are you kidding me? Have we not seen her resume? Have we not run a season with Jenna? This isn't some rookie. She hasn't made it far in the past couple of seasons, mainly due to purge challenges. And I think this episode right here just shows that the Barbie Beast is back. Now, in this episode of The Challenge, we saw a ton of people apologizing to everybody. First, it was Nelson in the nomination ceremony to Aneesa for how he reacted to her possibly throwing the daily challenge that just happened, the Fast and Furious daily challenge. He apologized to her, and then all of a sudden started calling out Tori, everybody in the house for giving Tori an quote-unquote easy red skull, and then coming after Kailah, saying that she had done the hibbity-dibbity in a porta potty, and coming at her character, calling her the foulest woman in this house. First of all, why did he specifically say she did something in a porta potty? That is so specific. It's not just like, oh, go cheat on your boyfriend again, or go cheat on somebody else. Like, he really said, like, for a fact, really niching it down, saying that she had done something in a porta potty. I mean, you just don't pluck that out of thin air. I wonder if he's referring to her kissing Bear in the bathroom, since that was what we saw as their first kiss in the challenge house, and what really solidified her cheating on her boyfriend. Maybe he's saying that, possibly, I don't know. But to just reach out and pick out porta potty out of nowhere is just crazy. And then later at the bar, where we get like a 30-minute bar scene, which I think is the longest bar scene in challenge history. But we get the bar scene where Nany is hitting on Casey. Nany goes to the bathroom. Aneesa comes in to intervene, say, hey, don't cheat on your girlfriend. And that's when Nany and Aneesa get into it. Nany's about to take off Jenna's head as well. And then back at the house, Nany is taking some low blows, throwing cups of noodles at Aneesa. Aneesa is getting the brunt not only from Nelson, but also from Nany, who is a friend, who is a quote-unquote friend. Granted, Nany is drunk, but that is no excuse for coming at a friend that hard. Nany had to apologize the next morning after cleaning up her cup of noodles just on the ground. She apologizes to Aneesa. Aneesa accepts the apology. It's just super uncalled for. Granted, we've seen this behavior from Nany from past seasons, but it's still not fun to see. And we got that. We got Nelson apologize to Kailah, and this is where we see that both Nelson and Nany use the excuse of, oh, the house pressure is getting to me. There's so much strain happening inside the house that it just makes us blow up on people. If the bunker is getting to everybody, show everybody fighting with one another instead of having just two people say that the pressure of the house is getting to them. Because right now it seems that everybody else is having a decent time in the house besides Nelson and Nany, who are talking about how stressful the house is. And Jenna's having some stressful stuff, but I mean, I don't know if it's inside the house or just Zach in general. Because of the formatting of the show, we got nominations, drama, more drama, and finally an elimination. And this week's elimination was called Dust to Dust, where both parties had to grab some bricks from this giant pile of bricks, take it up a steep ramp, drop it on a crate, have the debris fall into a wheelbarrow, fill up your wheelbarrow, and go dump it into your pile. The first person to get it over the line wins, and the other person gets sent home. When looking at the strategies of Jenna versus Tori, I think this really was suited better for Jenna, because Jenna was able to talk about how she locked into this elimination, was able to just get on there, drop bricks, and just go. Like, there wasn't a lot of thinking that needed to take place in this elimination, to be honest. I mean, you're just grabbing bricks, drop them, fill up your barrel. You'll hear your friends from the top of the purgatory floor yelling to go take the wheelbarrow. Whereas Tori, I felt, really overthought this elimination, because she was just talking about multiple strategies while the elimination was happening. She was like, I'm gonna go grab bricks, bring them up to the crate, break them, but go back and get some. And then she's on her knees trying to break bricks from her knees, where it's not getting the ton of leverage, the ton of pressure that needs to send more debris down the grate. Then she's trying to fit the pieces one by one through the grate. I mean, there was a lot happening, and then you could tell that Jordan was being a very big distraction at certain points, because he was yelling for her to, like, move forward, go back, get another brick, don't go take your wheelbarrow. And you could just tell there was some parts where Tori would run down, and when she heard Jordan yelling and say, hey, go get a brick, she would turn to go get a brick, and then she's like, no, I'm gonna go get my wheelbarrow. And you could just tell that those little bit of second guesses, those little bits of hesitation was the difference between winning and losing in this elimination. And trust me, I know, I second guess myself a lot of the time. I overthink certain things, and sometimes it can be paralyzing. And I can only imagine what would happen in the challenge house if you're always second guessing or overthinking every little thing. And that is what really happened, I feel, in this elimination, and it was what ultimately sent Tori home. Alright, it's time for the Numskulls of this week, and at number 3, I have everybody in the house that underestimated Jenna, the Barbie beast. I mean, from everybody talking about how they wanted to go up against Jenna, how this would be an easy red skull, and to want to go in there and getting into fights about how Jenna is the easy route to get a red skull and then coast to the final. Come on now, she has the moniker Barbie Beast for a reason. Check her resume and just know to put respect on Jenna's name. And at number 2, we have Nany for getting into a fight with Aneesa. This was a lot of low blows. She's calling her corny. She's talking about how she's taking her clothes off for money in the past and throwing a cup of noodles at her head. I think Nany just was messy this episode, and Aneesa showed that she has a lot of class, whether it was being yelled at by Nelson in the previous episode or getting yelled at by Nany. Aneesa just told her to take the trash factor down. We didn't see her call Nany anything whatsoever. No names. She didn't put hands on Nany. She was a class act. And at number 1, we have, no surprise here, Nelson, who's getting into fights with Aneesa in the previous episode, apologizing, and then 5 seconds after apologizing, calling out Tori and the rest of the house for giving Tori a quote-unquote easy red skull, and then for coming at Kailah as hard as he did, calling her a slag, calling her a slut, calling her having done sex in a porta potty, and then having to retract it later, and then seeing in the coming up next week on the challenge and coming at Kyle. I mean, if he's really getting under people's skin to be thrown into the elimination, there's better ways and easier ways to do it than getting into fights with everybody and blowing up his game and Corey's game and everybody he's talking to's game. I mean, come on. This doesn't only affect you, it affects everyone else around you. And now it's time to read and answer some comments from my Thursday's video of The Challenge Season 35 Total Madness Episode 7 review. And the first one is from Do It Heartily, asks, for Tiny Table Talk, do you feel Nelson is trying too hard to stand out as a leader in the house? For example, calling out Aneesa, Tori, and Kailah in different ways, hoping the house would back him up. All 3 instances have nothing to do with Guys Week. All are females related and has to do with their game, not his. None of it hurts Nelson, so I wonder what his motive is. Is he hoping to turn these situations into his favor, but they are backfiring on him every time? I don't know. I really have no idea what Nelson is doing, whether it's for just getting more airtime, whether it's to make ruffles and waves in the house, whether it's maybe he wants to get on the next Rivals 4 season, or if he's really feeling this way and this is just how he's acting and the pressure of the house is really getting to him, or maybe he's trying to get to a point where people are going to want to throw him into the elimination. Young God Treese says, conspiracy theory, Nelson wants to go in, so he's doing all this to get voted in. If that's the case, I feel though there's easier ways. I really do. I really feel that he could just tell people that he wants to go in. Throw me in. So it's just weird in my opinion why he's going this route instead of just asking, but maybe that's right. Maybe we'll have to see what's happening. Keku or Kaku says, it really annoyed me how much everyone underestimated Jenna, even her own friends. Like, I get she was going through a lot with Zach, but she is Barbie Beast after all. Happy she was able to pull out this win. I'm sure it was great for her confidence and a motivator to stay in the competition, and who knows, maybe get to see another final. I think this is a perfect comment because everyone just completely underestimated Jenna. She was sitting there going like, hey, I could throw myself in, and people were like, no, you're definitely not gonna throw yourself in. She did, she took care of business, she did what she had to do, and she stayed in. And I hope this is a motivating factor. I hope she doesn't have another conversation with Zach and then is like, well, I need to throw myself in again, because I don't see how having another couple of days, he's just gonna turn all of a sudden on a dime saying, oh, well, I forgive you, I'm glad. So I don't want to see another fight with them, but I feel though it's inevitable, and I just don't want that to be another factor for her to be like, I want to be thrown in again, and then possibly run the risk of her being thrown in like right before the finals. I want to see her in another finals. We haven't seen her in a finals in forever. I want to see her in another finals, and I'd like to see her do some damage. Carly Clement says, I feel like next week's episode is going to be back on track with drama, daily challenges, nominations, and eliminations. I really hope so, at least. I truly hope so as well. I just don't know if that's going to be the case, especially with TJ announcing that the next week is going to be a double elimination. I feel as though we maybe possibly could get drama, daily challenge, and one part of the elimination, but to get both parts and everything, I just don't know if that's going to be the case, but I'm going to hold out hope. I'm going to be having my fingers crossed, my toes crossed, and just be praying so hard for it to be the case. And finally, King Kami says, I hope they do 2 eliminations in 1 episode just to make up for all this filler. Like I said, TJ announced that there's going to be a double elimination happening coming very, very soon. So we will get 2 eliminations. I just don't know if it's going to be in 1 full episode, or we're going to get half of one episode, or get to the next episode. I don't know how they're going to be breaking up this. There's a lot of talk that because of the quarantine that they are breaking up all the episodes, and so we'll get a longer season, so there's not a terribly long off season. But you never know what could happen. I'm going to be holding out hope that we're going to get back on track. We're going to see 2 eliminations, and we're going to get tons and tons of more challenges. But What do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What do you think about this table talk? What do you think about everyone underestimating Jenna? What do you think is going to happen in the next episode of the challenge? Who do you think is going to be in the tribunal? Who do you think is going to be sent into the double elimination? And do you think we're going to get back on track anytime soon? Let me know that in the comment section below. Let me know anything and everything you have to say. I really love reading and getting to reply to all of your comments. Thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really soon with more challenge content, brief histories, top 10s, top 5s, fantasy cast videos, deep dives, all that good stuff. And join me on Thursdays for the challenge season 35 Total Madness review and recaps, and on Fridays for another table talk for the challenge. But until then, peace.